A few words on myself. I'm the managing director of Advantum and the co-founder of Untitled Inc. Advantum is a professional services firm in the space and doing use case consulting, ICO advisory, and investment advisory. Untitled Inc. is a platform and is about to turn into what I would call a venture launchpad, venture development platform in the blockchain and DLT space. And Andranik actually is also a member, so I'm very happy that I can speak today on Internet of Things, Tokenomics and ICO. And when I came back yesterday at 11, I had a quick thought of actually being in the space of data, ERP, supply chain management, digital transformation and the like for about 25 plus years. What the fuck is new under the sun and why should I care? So I came up last night at 1, I got up to do this presentation and said, okay, what's new under the sun and why should I care? What should I actually talk about today? I use this slide in classic digital transformation projects similarly. What we see here is in the 1960s, something like industrial IT emerged. Yeah? The key point there was, the key focus was automation and information technology to improve production control. Yeah? And then on the top we had around 1985, 1984 I think was the first personal computer by IBM introduced to the world. And later in the 1990s the internet based on some basic research. So the key focus there was on coordination and integration of stakeholders and processes across the supply chain. And then we witnessed the whole terminology of the Internet of Things, which was actually invented at Procter & Gamble in the 1999 by a guy in their research lab who then moved to the MIT. So it's about 20 years ago that the term Internet of Things has been invented. And in 2011, my friend from SAP, Mr. Kagermann, and also Mr. Walster from the DKFE, they invented the term Industry 4.0 in 2011, and brought it at Hannover Messe to the world, which has a huge success after 7-8 years. And the key focus there was on smart connected products, so sensors and products, the intelligent product, if you like, horizontal and vertical integration of data across the supply chain, analytics across the value chain, so what we call big data today. And not only across the supply chain, but also across the product life cycle from basically design to recycling. And a term of the platform economy emerged in that period as well. So what's new? Blockchain 2009. And this is for me primarily about the 4 things on the right corner here. It's about immutable transaction recording in distributed databases, and it's immutable due to cryptography. It's second about unique digital tokens, and the key thing is unique, a unique digital token, that allows us to do P2P transactions of assets on the internet. And this is actually the key innovation, what we are witnessing here. It's about transfer of assets on the internet, because what we did so far is we send a copy of a photo, of a file, of data across the internet, but we don't transfer the asset. It's about smart contracts, which concept which, as you all know, emerged in 2015 with the Ethereum project. Recently, I mean, last year we've seen a hype in initial coin offerings as a funding tool for startups and projects in the field. So these are, for me, the 4 key aspects, what's new under the sun. Now I want to dig a bit deeper into this. And why should I care? I mean, there are many new things. And if we look at all these notions and topics up there, blockchain, DLT, smart contracts, machine learning, IoT, Industry 4.0, autonomous machines, the decentral autonomous organization, what we are witnessing is basically an industry and technology convergence. Yeah? And if I run a business today, if I am Facebook, if I am Google, if I am Daimler, if I am Energy, the key question I should ask myself, and these guys are asking this question. I talked to the CEO of Bosch, for example, a year ago. He asked himself the key question, what are the implications on our organization's target picture? And what is my understanding of an organization's target picture? Now, this is basically the picture I have in mind when I'm talking about an organization's target picture. This is all about what are our products and services in the future. And the key guiding question here is, what user experience do we offer? Yeah? What problem of the users do we solve? How does he or she solve it today? And what can we improve? What can we make better? Second field is the operational model, the operating model. This is all about processes and governance. How do I control my processes and people in the organization? And the key question there is about operational excellence. So how do I incentivize my people? How do I have the most efficient processes in there to deliver those products and services to my clients? And the third circle here is about the business model. How do I make money? How do I monetize what I offer? Yeah? And at the intersection, it's all about people and technology capabilities. And this is actually about core competencies. That means what are the technological and people capabilities where we really can and should stand out. These are the key questions for leaders across any industry. Yeah? And if it comes to blockchain and distributed ledger technology, it is very evident, or for me it became evident over the last years, and I follow this concept since about 2012, that it is a new foundational technology for the Internet of Things, or as I would call it, the Internet of Everything. It's about people, machines, data that is connected there. And foundational technologies usually take decades to develop. As we have seen in any case, we have seen that with the steam engine, we have seen that with the automobile, we have seen that with mobile communication, with the internet. It took decades to develop into a real, let's say, unfold the impact on our world. Now, I want to dig a bit deeper into one key concept in that space, and this is about tokens and initial coin offerings. When we look at a token, in general terms, what are we talking about? You see here a few examples. You see the casino tokens up there. They grant you access to an ecosystem, to the casino to play. We see a US dollar. This grants you access to the American economy and also to the economies in many states where it is used as a quasi-currency. In Africa, in South America, it's basically not the national currencies, it's about the dollar. In Russia as well. And we have shares, which give you a voting right and a decision right in companies, in economic organizations. We have there, it's a nice one here. These are tokens that are used in a workshop, a mechanical workshop, where the workers actually give a token and get a tool to work. Yeah? And they give the tool back and they get the token back, so next time they can get a new tool. And there you have on iTunes these tokens that you can exchange for music or download or something. Yeah? So tokens are a unit of value which can be exchanged against other assets, goods, or services. And the second key aspect, and this is really a key message, is tokens incentivize people to do certain things. Think about this. Tokens incentivize people to do things. Yeah? In this case, they incentivize me or people who enter the casino to play to spend their money. They incentivize me to buy music. They incentivize me to bring back a tool, and so on and so forth. And there are other tokens. There are also digital tokens around. For example, airline miles. I was 9 days in New York now, and I spent like 150,000 miles to upgrade my economy ticket, Lufthansa miles, to upgrade that to business. Yeah? So it incentivizes me to spend money. Now, what we witnessed in the recent, let's say, 15 years is that physical bearer tokens, tokens that are like euro note or dollar or so, are physical bearers, have been merged and morphed into digital bearer tokens. And we've seen, for example, I touched that, miles and more, airline miles, like Miles and More, Lufthansa Miles and More. And we've seen in 2009 the concept of Bitcoin emerge as a currency token, a digital currency token. And what is actually unique? Because we've seen digital currencies 10, 15 years earlier. But the unique thing about Bitcoin was that it is the first unique digital bearer token which cannot be copied. And this is a very useful property when it comes to a currency, because if I can copy my euro note, when I give you 10 euro, 100 euro, if I can keep a copy of it, that's a very bad idea. The value of this token is not high. But if I can't copy it, and this is the case usually when I do a physical transfer of my asset, my 10 euro note, to anybody here in the room, if I cannot copy it, it becomes a really useful property. And this is why Bitcoin today is used as a store of value. It's not used as a means of transaction yet because the cost is too high, etc. And this is what enables digital currency token to be transferred peer-to-peer via the internet like a physical bearer token without a middleman. Without a middleman. Yeah? It's about disintermediation here. And this is very fundamental, and that's why this technology is about to become a foundational technology at its core, and why this is so essential also for the Internet of Things in the age where we have, or are about to have, autonomous machines, machines with wallets, machines who buy things like electricity, who recharge, for example, a drone that recharges itself with electricity, my car could recharge, and so on. So it becomes autonomous. And based on that, we have seen in the last year, actually, it's just 1 year, in the very early stages, the concept of the so-called initial coin offerings to gain traction. The first ICO has been done about 4.5 years ago. It was Mastercoin, Omni. But actually, we became aware of this concept just about 1 year ago, where investors give tokens, established tokens like Bitcoin and Ether, to projects that want to launch, essentially in the first stage, technology in the blockchain and DLT space, and they get in exchange tokens of this project to buy future products and services. And they are technically realized with smart contracts based on the ERC20 tokens, as most of you know. My friend Fabian Vogelsteller from Ethereum was the inventor of this standard. And what we witnessed there was, this is a picture from December 2014. First projects, one of the first was Ethereum itself with 16 million, it's hardly readable there. And you see here the legend of the origin, Europe, North America, Asia, and stateless, yeah. So there are a number of those ICOs who didn't even have a location. You can't track down where the origin was. This emerged in June 2016, 2 years later, more or less, the DAO project, bam, 170 million. Okay, I speed up. It collapsed, so it was probably a bit early. Then we've seen many more. This is July 2017, 1 year later, and this is November 2017. That's the ecosystem in initial coin offerings as a funding tool. And what is the key takeaway here? It is that initial coin offerings are here to stay as a funding tool. And second, the more money, the more problems. Because if you look at Tezos, for example, big project with big problems, yeah, and this is due to governance topics, so we need more intelligent governance, also self-governance in the ecosystem. We are working on that. And we raised like 7 billion or so last year, or not we, but in the ecosystem that was raised. And this is still very, very small compared to traditional venture capital and private equity funding of projects. So for more institutional money to come in and to grow the ecosystem, we need governance here. What we worked on was with my Untitled Inc. colleagues, here we have Carmichael over there, and Daniel as well, on an ICO 360 evaluation tool to bring more rigor to the space. I won't go through this, I only have a few minutes. So basically a 360 review of all relevant aspects. And we also are working on a tokenization framework, and I want to present that quickly. We had a look at all those tokens, and we can distinguish several perspectives, or can look at them from several perspectives. There's a technical layer, there's a purpose, what is the token's main purpose, what do I use the token for, what is the legal status, and what is the underlying value. And we can distinguish 15 different token types. I want to just deep dive here into the technical layer. We distinguish blockchain native tokens. So one example would be Bitcoin. So there's exactly the, oh, this doesn't work anymore, but yeah, anyway, I think I speak up, I have still a voice. So one example is Bitcoin, the non-native tokens. You have tokens that are built on a blockchain like the Algor token, these oracles basically that are implemented, or decentralized app tokens like Viz, Gnosis, or the Safe network. Then I speed up, yeah? Oh, yeah, it works again. So then we can basically assess those token types across these perspectives and gain a better understanding of what we have. We have here an example for Steam. We can do that for many more. What I bring to your attention is also our layered token design model, where we distinguish 3 layers: the governance layer, basically outside the technical space, covering legal stuff, governance, and so on. The token layer, where we cover all the technical issues like the token type and purpose, also the token value, value distribution, and the base is a technology layer, where it's about the protocol code, about the consensus mechanism, the validation algorithms, and so on, and the technical platform. And these are the areas to design and to master when designing a token, which is the key, really the key for establishing an economy here. And I want to highlight two aspects, the token value and the value distribution, because these are aspects where we actually need more theory development. We need it in all areas, but these in particular are two factors. A key message today is also that the killer app for the blockchain and DLT is actually not ICOs, but is about the design of those private economies and about how to design the tokens, which are incentive machines and enablers to that. Yeah? And without that, the whole thing will remain basically a nerdy thing which is in a corner somewhere in the development labs. Yeah? You need to get money into that system to grow. Yeah? And I will, about to finish, to highlight, actually there's a mistake here in the agenda, the Blockchain Research Accelerator, an initiative we just launched this last week, together with Andranik and some other friends, where we encourage university students and PhD candidates doing their research to interact with us and others in the ecosystem to actually generate this theoretical basis we urgently need to develop this ecosystem. And this is an overview slide of how this all links together with the Untitled Inc. platform at the bottom, with Advantum partners, the consulting firm, and Blockchain Research Accelerator as one initiative, CoinMarketRec looking at regulatory topics, and the ICO 360, which is an initiative we launched from that perspective as well. With that, I'm going to close and say thank you and open to questions.